2022. It's a lot of twos. And I call to order this general meeting of the school board for Intermediate District 287. Our first item on the agenda, as always, is the reading of our mission as a school district. And Ruthie Dallas is going to read it for us this evening.
Thank you, Chair. The mission of Intermediate District 287 is to be the premier provider of innovative specialized services to ensure that each member district can meet the unique learning needs of its students.
Thank you. And will you start the introductions this evening?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Ruthie Dallas, and I represent Brooklyn Center Community Schools.
And I'm Jackie Mosqueda Jones, and I represent District 279 Osceola area schools.
Hi, I'm Heidi Marty, and I represent West Tonka Schools.
Good evening. My name's Michelle Kuntz, and I represent Orono of Public Schools.
And Casey, proudly representing St. Louis Park.
And I'm Crystal Brackey from Richfield Public Schools. We have several board members that are not able to be with us this evening. So Michael Birdman, Sarah Johansson, and Shannon Andreessen are all going to be absent this evening. And I expect that Sam Sant from Robbinsdale and Francesca Pagan Umar from Eden Prairie will be joining us at some point, probably in the next few minutes. The other item of business I wanted to share at the very beginning before we approve the general meeting agenda is that our vice chair of the board, Ann Casey, is going to be serving as clerk this evening since our clerk, Shannon Andreessen, is not able to be here. So with that, our first action item is approval of the general meeting agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Heidi Marty and a second by Ruthie Dallas. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye and the agenda is approved. Next on the agenda is audience opportunity to speak, and I don't believe we had anybody request time to speak with us this evening. Is that the case? Thank you. The next item is approval of the consent agenda, which contains routine business items. If somebody would like to have an item removed for individual consideration, we would entertain that motion right now. Otherwise, we could entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Jackie Mosqueda Jones and a second by Heidi Marty. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye and the consent agenda is approved. Next, we have a motion to rescind from a previous meeting. And this was an item that we approved at our August 25th, 2022 meeting. And we are being asked to rescind our approval of the resignation tendered by the employee named in agenda item 5.1. And it's important to be clear that this action is being requested by the employee and approved by all staff members involved in the situation. So it seems like a very straightforward request for us to rescind this prior approval. Are there any questions before we take action? Yes.
Just to say that it seemed like the resignation was to take another job in the district,
That is my understanding.
and then this is going back to the previous.
The prior position.
Right.
Yep. And again, it's where both of the managers of the previous position and the new position agree with this decision and recommendation for us this evening.
Fantastic.
So given this is rescind, I'm going to read the language and then could entertain a motion. The board rescinds its approval of the resignation tendered by the employee named in agenda item 5.1 and approved by the board at its regular meeting on August 25th, 2022. There a motion?
I'll move.
I will give the motion to Ann Casey and the second to Heidi Marty. Any discussion?
The roll call.
This is a roll call vote. This is a resolution. So Ann Casey, acting as clerk, will poll the board.
Okay. Right.
Aye.
Casey is an aye. Dallas.
Yes.
Coons.
Aye.
Marty.
Aye.
Mosqueda Jones.
Aye.
And Pagan and Rescind are absent.
So the
Guys have it.
Wonderful. The resolution to rescind has been approved. Okay, that was a whole bunch of business items that we have to tackle at the beginning of the meeting. I'm very excited to now move on to share the success and recognition of a very special guest here with us in the boardroom. But I am going to have Alexia Poppy Finley, who is with us online, introduce our special guest. So I'm going to turn it over to Alexia, who leads our Pathways and West Education Center programs.
Good evening, board. Thank you, Madam Chair Brackey. I'm Alexia Poppy Finley, and I'm a principal of West Education Center and our programs at HTC. Tonight, we also have two members of our staff in the room with you. We have Assistant Principal Shannon Castro, and we have our program facilitator, Amy Cook. I can't see them, but hopefully you can.
They waved.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you for allowing me the flexibility of being here, navigating my family demands in addition to being a principal. So thank you for that. Cheyenne, I'm sorry I can't see you in person, but I'm excited to hear your voice and see you tonight. I am very excited to speak a little bit about Cheyenne, but to introduce about our program first. Cheyenne is part of our Tier 1 transition program. The program is located at Hennepin Technical College in Eden Prairie. We currently have 25 students enrolled, and they're at the Tier 1, but then we also have the transition program at our West Education Center campus as well. So overall in our transition, we serve around 55 students at this time. We serve students with multi-categorical disabilities and diverse linguistic and racial backgrounds. Our HTC Tier 1 transition has 10 staff, which include our support staff like our work coordinator and our social worker and school counselor. We currently serve students from Eden Prairie, Edina, Hopkins, Richfield, Orono, Osseo, Robbinsdale, Wayzata, and West Tonka in our transition programs. And as a reminder, in transition, our primary focus are on the 3 areas of transition, which is employment, education and training, and independent living, with a strong focus on post-secondary readiness and work skill training. So with that background of who's one of our students that are sitting in front of you, I have the honor to introduce the student and family. And we have Cheyenne Walker, who is coming to our program from Osseo Public Schools, and her mother, Christy Williams. And I believe her sister may also be there with us tonight.
She is.
Awesome. And one thing that I just learned tonight, a fun fact that her mother shared with us this evening, is that Cheyenne received special education services when she was 2 years old at Harley Hopkins Elementary School. And she was told that there was a large picture of Cheyenne at the DSC when she was really young holding a basketball. So we might have to go on like a scavenger hunt at some point, but mom was told this and was hoping to see it, but I'm not sure I know where that is right now either. But with that, I introduce to you our amazing student, Cheyenne Walker.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne Walker. I'm 20. I live in Maple Grove, and I intended to Osseo High School before coming to District 287. In high school, I was searching for college. I actually applied to National Technical Institute for the Deaf, Rochester, New York, and I was accepted. The Osseo teachers told me about Vector, and I decided to come to Vector to continue to build my communication skills and prepare for college work. This is my second year at Vector. Here's what I have accomplished so far. I spent a lot of time getting organized and work on my college reading skill with Miss Kendra. Miss Kendra spent time studying with me to looking at different careers and degrees. I'm very interested in becoming a psychologist. I researched college classes to start with, and I applied at ATC. I completed 2 college classes, and I have a 10.5 GPA. I'm currently in the Certified Nursing Assistant Pathway class at HTC. I would like to earn my certification. I have connected with occasional rehabilitation services for the deaf and hard of hearing. My counselor's name is Steve Amir, and he is part of my educational team. I currently have 2 part-time jobs, but I make it full-time. So. I have worked at Marshall for 3 years. I also work at Walmart, and I have been working there for 8 months now. I'm working on building a great resume. I'm sorry. I completed the driver ed class and earned my driver's permit. I kind of have increased my budgeting skill, but y'all know I like to shop. Okay. But I'm really responsible paying my phone bill on time because you know. Okay. I have become a better self-advocate. I ask teachers to put in closed caption and repeat if I did not understand. I will always ask the interpreter to repeat if I did not understand. I work with many different interpreters, and I'm learning how to work with different styles and what works best for me. This will help me in the future working with interpreters. I'm Jessica. I access my resource as good like good social worker, work experience coordinator, DHH itinerant, ASL interpreter, and other school staff. I am so motivated to go to college and have a career. I want to live in Atlanta someday, so I need to keep building my skills in independent living. I plan to take advantage of my time left at Bexar to keep exploring careers and take college classes. Okay. I love you, Mommy. Thank you for listening to my story. I am so very honored. Actually, I'm not honored. I am so blessed that y'all picked me. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for picking me for your spotlight. Is there any questions? Yes.
If this is where you already are, Cheyenne, I mean, it's hard to imagine what you're gonna be like in 2 years, 3 years, like changing the world.
Cheyenne, is it okay if I share your story at the ASIO school board meeting?
Yeah.
Are there any teachers you want me to reach out to or anyone at ASIO that you'd like me to reach out to?
There's 2, but my DHA teacher from 2 years ago before I came to Vector, he went to Clemson, but Mr. Eckert, Travis Eckert, and then before that is Barbara Becker. Any more questions?
Hi, thank you so much for coming and sharing your sunshine. You just, wow. So I want to know, why do you want to go to Atlanta? We need you here.
I mean, I've experienced a lot over here, so I'd rather go south and state and experience more like culture and many more different things to learn about.
It's great. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
I would love to hear more about what is inspiring you to be a psychologist.
Okay. I don't know if y'all don't care about science, but I'm a Virgo. I care.
Me too.
I care. I just love looking into people's problems and help them out because I just care because I have the heart to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a great reason.
Mhm.
Yes.
What age level would you want to work with as a psychologist? We really need child psychologists.
I mean, any Asian, because I would love to help everybody on this earth, no matter how old I are. Like a tree. No. Mom, do you have questions?
Well,
She said, I'm gonna single you out if you don't.
Cheyenne, you are our first student spotlight of this school year. And I think you have just set a wonderful bar. And it's what we look forward to in our school board meetings is being able to meet and hear directly from our students and our staff who are supporting and working with them all along the way. So just thank you so much for being here. And as Michelle so beautifully said, sharing your sunshine with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes.
Maybe we could check in with her at the end of the school year. I'd love to find out
Yeah.
where she's going and
Okay.
what she's gonna do.
Okay. Well, we'll let Cheyenne know that she's invited back anytime she wants.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Thank you.
being here. Thank you. Okay, with that, we are going to move into our superintendent's report. So I will invite you to introduce our one presentation this evening.
Thank you, Chair Brackey. I'd like to ask Jake Horst to come on up to the podium. First of all, I have to give a big shout out to Jake. We kept him busy the past 2 years with COVID, and now we're keeping him really busy with the new technologies that we have as part of our safety plan. And so to Jake, the technology team, to all the leaders in the district, it has been a big lift and just really grateful for you and your time and your expertise. And so just want to fully acknowledge the extra time that you put in to make this work. Jake is going to give us a safety presentation. Jake is the Senior Manager of Health, Safety, and Security, and he's going to provide an overview of our preparedness update. I'd like to just share with the board that this will be an overview as part of safety. We don't share in-depth details or plans regarding our safety, but if there are questions that the board wants to know, we can talk about a way where we could make sure you have the information and yet keep the privacy of safety and our secure plans private. So with that, I will let Jake take it away.
Thank you, Marcy. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you, Madam Chair, Brackey, board members for having me today. I did want to establish a little bit of context to why there's so many things, or 9 slides on safety moving into this school year. So if you weren't aware, we had a few critical incidents that took place last year. And we ultimately put together a comprehensive safety review of all of our safety measures and practices that we were doing, put together a safety response team, created a survey that went out to all of our stakeholders, so family members, staff, all staff and students, to weigh in on these recommendations that the safety response team put together. So the safety response team was made up of all roles, races, and genders, and all of our bargaining units within the district. And we had an outside source from Minnesota Safe Schools. The director, Randy Johnson, was part of this task force or team to really establish these new recommendations that we had pushed forward. So with that, I'll jump into some of these topics we'll cover here today. So really the layers of safety and the approach and mindset and how we're approaching that this school year. Current and future training that we've done to this point and how we will continue to train on safety throughout the school year and future years. Touch base on our school safety coaches, what those are, how it really was established and their roles within the district. Our crisis plan, which also includes really outside agencies and collaboration with them. And some of the new technologies that were part of that recommendation process. As you can see, there's 3 main ones as part of that. So layers of safety and approach and mindset. The best way I can put this is really, there's been a lot of back and forth with like us doing one thing as a district, us putting in a safety measure, putting in a system that could ultimately create a safe environment for all. But really the understanding that we have as a district is multiple layers of safety is the best way. And the best way I can relate to that is the pandemic. That's really kind of fresh on everybody's mind. The more layers you put, the safer you are, okay? Safety really has that same approach. So the more layers of safety that we put in, the lower we drop that risk level of a critical incident taking place. So that's really the mindset. And we wanted to establish for everybody, you can see our motto down there, that it takes everybody, right? Safety is everyone's responsibility. It doesn't matter the role or responsibility within the district. It's all of our job to create this safety culture for our staff and students in our 287 community. So with that, I hope all of you have this in front of you. It is our infographic of really identifying those layers of safety. Now, there is a description under each of those. I will go through a few of them. I don't really want to go through all of them, as we could be here for a while. But on the backside, there's a more breakdown of the descriptions of each of those safety layers. And as you can see, really the first one, the robust safety planning, there's layers within that layer, right? You have your threat assessments, you have your emergency plan and procedure guide. There's multiple layers in that first one. And then some of these other areas, right? Emergency notification is system-based. Door locks is really who can come in with a card access, again, system-based. Visitor management we'll touch on. The student screening process, really I want to highlight this is extremely important for our staff every day, because they get to really, right away at the beginning of the day, understand our students' physical and emotional well-being right when they enter in the building. So that's very important, right? The new system of the weapon detection system, another layer. We'll touch on the student safety coaches, but really the student safety coaches, the mental health and the relationship is really student focused, right? This is a big aspect, and research shows how important relationships are to really de-escalating or stopping a critical incident from escalating. So very, very important, as you can see, why the relationship block is so much bigger and how important that really is. The current and future training for staff. So this was ultimately a recommendation again from that group, is that more training was to be provided for all staff at the beginning of the year and then throughout the year. So at this current time, we have created a 90 to 120-minute presentation for all staff, and it has been provided district-wide to this point. Now, with that training, it went over a lot of the new systems that went in place, but then the foundational pieces that we have for health and safety and where they can find all the other resources that we have available to them for that safety environment. With that, I did want to mention the incident command structure training. So we ultimately put in an incident command structure a couple of years ago, but the importance of an incident command system is really a pyramid level roles and responsibilities when dealing with an emergency situation. So as something arises, you have defined roles and responsibilities to deal with that crisis. So emergency services uses this. They've been using this for years. We've incorporated this. And just to let you know, we train tabletop scenarios with each of our sites on situations so we can get more efficient, more effective, and handle critical incidents as they arise more efficiently. This is consistent across the whole district. So every site has an incident command system, including the district service center. So as things arise, again, the same structure across the board. Future trainings. So rather than me or anybody really within the district doing a peanut butter approach, just like I'm going to train safety this month, this item next, this item next. We wanted to get feedback from our staff, right? We wanted to know what their safety concerns were. So we ultimately created a survey, sent that out to everyone saying, what would you like to know more about or be trained more on to be able for you to come to work and feel safe, right? We wanted to specify per site, so sites could get different training based on what their feedback was. And that's the plan to move forward. Along with that was that safety climate survey I mentioned that we took at last winter or spring, get feedback from all of our stakeholders. We are going to issue this every spring and fall to continue with the growth of our safety. How can we improve? How all of our stakeholders feel about it? Should we change anything? So a partnership with all of our stakeholders, really. Student safety coaches. So if you're not familiar with that, student safety coaches did replace SROs within our schools. This took place back in 2016-17, where it was piloted at West Education Center. And then it went district-wide in 2017-18 at all of our school sites. So really what it is it's 2 to 3 staff that play a specific role with dealing with safety incidents. And really what you can see is they focus on relationships, right, with students. Taking temperature, again, what I kind of already touched on is that physical and emotional well-being when they come in, understanding maybe what's going on is someone escalated right when they come to school. Proactively addressing issues, safety issues specifically, behavior, helping with restorative practices, handling safety incidents as they arise. The biggest thing is they're not uniform. They're dressed like everybody in their normal clothes. They build those relationships, and it's really paid off with reducing critical incidents in our school district. So our crisis plans. So listed on that top layer of protection is our emergency planning and procedure guide. What this is, it's a really large encompassing document dealing with how to handle a critical incident that would take place regarding life safety. So in other words, an evacuation, a shelter, a threat that may come up, a bomb threat, all these things really are captured within this document. Bookmarked for efficiency to get through to them, but from start to finish, how you would deal with that. So it talks about what staff should be doing, what our administrators should be doing, what the district staff should be doing, all the way down to the communication piece, okay? We've shared that and gone over that with all of our staff as well. The one thing I will highlight here is because communication is such a critical role in any emergency situation. We have a new director of communications coming on board. I will sit down with her and we'll go through the whole thing to ensure that we're on the same page with our communication plans, right? Ensuring it's up to where they see it should be. The other piece with crisis plans, and a very crucial one, is involving outside agencies. So currently, we do not meet with them. We started when I started here back in 2019, meeting with the chiefs of police in all of our school cities, like where our schools are, cities. It ultimately stalled out due to like just time, right? And then we had our incidents that took place, and it really brought it forward on how crucial and important it is to meet with those outside agencies, okay? So starting October, early November, we will be meeting with emergency service providers to go over this plan and guide and be a partner, right? Like if they have different guidance that they would like us to incorporate, we'll do that, right? We'll work together. So when they come on site, we're on the same page and we can handle the critical incident as efficient as possible. With that, I did want to share that last year we started a partnership with Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. It was me, Minneapolis the Public Safety Director, and Washington County's Public Safety Director, excuse me. Started a partnership to where we wanted to include all the metro area schools safety directors and share improvement ideas or successes that we've had. And this group has been meeting, so it started out with 4 of us. The three, and then Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. It's up to over 30 to 40 participants. Probably some of your school leaders are in this. And we share things that we, again, can improve and successes we've had to really try to standardize safety as a whole across the greater metro area. So the first big technology change is Raptor. So some of your schools may already use this. It is pretty industry standard for Raptor to be used. It is one system, but 2 platforms. So because we didn't have great system use or contracts in place with other visitor management systems or emergency alert systems, we switched to Raptor. This was highlighted in our review. Raptor visitor management is really checking in anybody that's in our building. It allows for us to know specifically who's coming and going in our building and who's currently there. The nice thing with that is they communicate because it is one system. If we were to evacuate, they talk. So a visitor that would come in that we would normally not know that is there, they check in and now we know they're in the building. We can identify if they've gotten out safely and we can share that with emergency services. So the importance of a visitor management system is crucial really if an emergency happens and knowing who's in your building, who got out, okay? Emergency management alert really replaced our old system of Crisis Go. This system is an emergency notification system that allows us to send messages via mobile device, a PC, multiple avenues, right? Your email. It can also send out an alert if you're logged into the application. You can get a text message, you can get a phone call, lots of different ways to get alert if a situation were to happen. And our staff ultimately have access to being able to send an alert. Now most of our incident command teams have those alert capabilities. Not all staff have them. But it is something that we're implementing currently. The other last piece I'll note on this system is we learned about this after an incident at South last year is really the counting and the reunification process is a lot more complicated than you could really ever imagine. What Raptor Alert does is it helps us with that. Again, accounting for people that were in and who got out safely, and then the reunification process with the family member. The nice thing with Raptor is it has been integrated with our student and staff databases. So synergy ultimately and clever. So now we know ultimately who has access, who can pick up the students, all those little features that we wouldn't be able to do if you're off-site, on an off-site location, we can do that right from our mobile device. So it's very, very state-of-the-art technology for safety. The last item that we put in this year is the weapon detection system. So really, all of our school sites have 2 entry points. So each site has 2 weapon detection systems. Okay, it's ultimately pillars that you would walk through, and it's looking for 2 different things. So how it really works is it uses low frequency radio waves. How I can relate that is when you walk into a retail store and they have the pillars on if someone were to steal something and they would alert, that's the same frequency that this system gives off to look for metal, okay, large chunks of metal. However, this system doesn't just use that, it uses computerized system analysis to, when I would walk through the system, it's going to screen me ultimately looking for mass casualty weapons. So what that means is a firearm specifically and an explosive device. So it's going to look for one of those parts or the full part of it and alert on it. So if it picks up large chunks of metal or something that would represent the firearm or explosive, it'll alert. So that's really what the system is doing. It's very less invasive. It's very wide. Multiple people can go through it at a time. And that's what we're using at this point. So as a safety layer. With that, I will open it up for any questions you have. Do my best to answer them.
Thank you, Jake. Really helpful overview, especially to have the holistic picture and then some of the updates on the things that are new and different. So with that, questions or comments from the board? Michelle?
Thank you, Jake. That was really very interesting and helpful. I happened to put on the radio on my way over here, NPR, and they talked about what happened in Los Angeles schools, the biggest school district in the country, apparently. And my vocabulary is limited in this area, so it's where money is taken or a stop is put on a system, and then you have to pay to get back on these people. This happened to Los Angeles schools, and I'm wondering if we're aware of that here.
So if I'm understanding you right, it's something like a system that they didn't pay for and it got turned off or shut down?
No,
or-
no, these are people that come in and capture. It's like a hostage situation.
Hacking technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they steal hundreds and thousands of dollars, so
Yeah,
this is fresh on my mind, but the vocabulary isn't
It
there.
would be like cybersecurity.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can weigh in a little bit. I know I could defer to May. We worked on this a little bit with our IT director, Kim Halverson, but we did put in a cyber threat process. We have that insurance to help us with if something were to happen like that. We have kind of safeguards in place, but we put in like dual authentication and different ways to ultimately try to protect our systems from that taking place. So it has been on our radar and we have improved it, but I can't really speak super intelligently on it either. I would have to defer to Kim Helgeson, our IT
Oh, there
director.
you go. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
just if I may, I don't know what year it was, and maybe some people can help me with that, but we were involved in a training that was with police departments and ambulances and does anyone remember that? I don't think I made it up.
I think that was before my time, but I did hear
And-
about it. Yeah.
Anne is nodding, so good, good. Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, I mean, the goal really for us is, as we do these tabletops with our incident command teams, to get those partnerships with law enforcement or fire and do a tabletop together, right? To really solidify the consistency with all parties involved in a critical incident. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel much safer now.
Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you for the graphic. I think that graphic of all the layers of safety is very helpful. And I think it will be good for families if they're looking for something to see that. We just had a similar community forum in Osseo on the safety system because everybody's worried about it right now.
Yeah.
And same kinds of information that you just gave. So thank you so much for that really clear graphic.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to add is we are putting that up at our school sites and it has a QR code. So families can come in, scan the QR code and it'll pull them up to that graphic. So they
Perfect.
can check it out.
And also that you're using research-based as a research geek myself. So the techniques, thank you.
Absolutely.
Just to share with the board, as superintendents, we meet with AMSD superintendents. And so as you can be aware that safety is a hot topic and something that we discuss collectively. And so I shared our visual and it was something that all of the superintendents said, can we take that back to our district? So just another way that I'm proud of District 287 and the leadership of what we do here to support safety in our schools. It's great.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
We will move into the business services and labor relations report for this evening, which includes a facilities and financial report and a few resolutions for us. And so I think we're going to have some good time here with May Hawkins, our Executive Director of Business Services. We will start with the facilities report.
Good evening, Chair Brackey and board members. Are we going to start with what the board needs to know?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. She just said facilities reports.
That's what it's
There were
listed under
several
on the
items
agenda.
under there.
That's just
All
one.
right, so this was just a little background refresher, understanding that we have new board members, right, since we started this discussion. So just to kind of encapsulate it, right, so that, so we started planning this bond like almost a year ago when we started looking at solar, right? And then we looked at our roofs and we went, oh, some of these roofs are going to need restored or repaired in order for us to put solar on them. We looked at the cost of that. It exceeded our annual allocation in our LTFM. So then we're looking at issuing a bond. We look at issuing a bond. We're making principal and interest payments already on a 2017 bond that were remodeled and Bremer. Right, so if we add another bond to that, then we're looking at principal and interest payments, taking most of our LTFM funds until 2033. So then what projects did we need to include in this bond that couldn't wait until 2034, right? And so that's how this whole bond got put together for $4.8 million worth of projects, right? Back in March, you approved the 10-year long-term facilities maintenance plan, and then the 11-member districts also approved, the boards from the 11-member districts also approved the district, intermediate district 287's 10-year long-term facilities maintenance plan, right? And so there is a breakdown in the memo of like an estimated amount per kind of category, right? So how much, an estimated amount for HVAC, roofs. I believe there's a lighting system. So that information is in there. So the immediate next steps are the next two items on the agenda. So are there any questions on the what the board needs to know memo?
So fair to say this really is just us taking action on what we already approved and what member districts approved in the spring.
Correct. Actually, there's no action on this particular item.
Well, the next two items. Yes.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
seeing no questions. Do you want me to give the background first and then you'll?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So the next item on your agenda is the parameters resolution for the long-term facilities maintenance bond. So to facilitate the sale of the bond, this resolution authorizes the superintendent or myself to select an underwriter. The underwriter will actually then market the bonds to others and sell them. It further authorizes the superintendent or myself to sell the bonds if the two parameters in this resolution are met, and both parameters have to be met. The principal must not exceed $4,930,000. Did I do that right? Yeah, 4.93 million. That amount is also in all of the resolutions that the 11-member districts passed when you approved our 10-year plan, right? It also must have a true interest cost of less than 5.25%. So, and then this resolution and the next resolution were both written by our bond counsel to ensure that all legal compliance is met. Are there any questions?
Don't see any. So given the length of the resolution, our typical practice as a board is to make a motion to waive the full reading of the resolution and approve the resolution as presented in one action item. Is there a motion to do so?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Michelle Kunz and a second by Sam Sant. Any discussion? Okay, and since this is a resolution, Anne will pull the board. Right. Bracky? Aye. Casey is an aye. Dallas?
Aye.
Kunz?
Aye.
Marty?
Aye.
Mosqueda Jones?
Aye.
And Sant?
Yes.
All right, thank you. The resolution is approved and we will move to the next resolution.
So the next resolution is a reimbursement resolution. The purpose of this resolution is to allow the district to continue with or to start the planning process for the projects that are included in the bond. So basically what this resolution allows us to do is to do publications, hire architects, engineers, and then ask for reimbursement when the bond proceeds come in. So it allows us to get things started before we get the proceeds from the bond. If you, in my what the board needs to know timeline, you'll see that we won't get the bond proceeds until early November. All right. Some of these projects we're planning to do this summer in order to get that work aligned and get a contractor and get materials for summer work. We're basically going to need to issue these bids or approve these bids in December. Right. And so therefore the bid publication and all that has to happen before we'll get the proceeds from the bond. So we're just asking, and in law, we can do this for up to 60 days prior to bond proceeds. So, are there any questions on this resolution?
Don't see any, so we could entertain a motion to waive the reading of the resolution and approve the resolution as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Jackie Mosqueda Jones and a second by Ruthie Dallas. Any final discussion? And we'll pull the board. All right, I'll start at the other side this time. Sant?
Yes.
Mosqueda Jones?
Aye.
Marty?
Aye.
Kunz?
Aye.
Dallas?
Yes.
Casey is an aye. Bracky? Aye. And the resolution is approved. Thank you,
Thank
May,
you.
and thanks to your team. We do not have a human resources report this evening, so we move into the board business section of the agenda, where the next item is moving into closed session, allowable by state statute to hold a closed meeting to consider strategy for labor negotiations under Minnesota statute 13D.03. Is there a motion to move into closed session to consider strategy for labor negotiations?
Second.
We have a motion by Heidi Marty and a second by Michelle Kunz. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The chair votes aye, and at 7:15, we are closing the meeting, and after a brief amount of time to transition, we will begin closed session. Thank you. And I don't know if you saw, but Shannon is now with us. So Shannon, hello. She is joining informally since she's unable to be here this evening. Hi.